Hey, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be making a little tip video for noobs of Warzone. So I started playing with some of my buddies recently, and honestly for a long time I've kind of been teaching people on my stream things, and I get some really silly questions at time, and I'm like, hey, if they have these questions and they're pretty decent at most games, I'm sure a ton of people have some really stupid questions that need to be answered. So I'm going to give you my top 5 best tips for noobs to get better at Call of Duty Warzone, and let's jump into it. Alrighty guys, so for number 5 today on the list, it's a little trick that a lot of people don't understand with the minimap. I know this is something my brother personally didn't know originally, and it's kind of important if you want to get better at this game. And so when you're looking at the minimap up in the corner here, obviously you want to change this to square instead of circle. You can see more on the minimap when you do that. So that's my number 1 tip I would give you guys, but that's not what I'm telling you guys today. So when you're on the minimap, I'm going to press play here on the video, and you can see people showing up here. When people show up on it here, I went a little too far. When people show up on the UAV, they have arrows below. So right here, you have an arrow below, and no arrow. So if you know what that means, it means that these people are on a floor below you. When the arrow below the circle is below you, they're below you at some point. It doesn't give you exactly a range, but you know that they're below where you're at level-wise. So we're on the second story right now. They're at least on the first story. Make sense? If there's an arrow above them, that means they are above us. They're on the roof in this situation if they're above us. And none of them are in this situation, but this guy right here has none around us. So he's on the same floor as us. So we're looking on the same floor for him when there is no arrow pointing up or down. And that is a super easy tip that a lot of people do not know in this game. Let's go on to number 4. Alrighty guys, so coming in at number 4 today is going to be knowing when your loadout is going to drop. So obviously you can go buy your loadout from the store, but there's 2 of them a game that are free to get. And I'm going to show you right here when the first one is. The first one happens at 15 seconds on the closing of round 1. So 15 seconds every single time, there's going to be a loadout that drops around you. As you can see right here on the map, it just dropped next to us. It drops in a general vicinity of where you're at. So you always want to be kind of careful when you're near the edge of a zone, because if you somehow die while trying to go get that, you're probably not going to be able to get it on the zone rotation. But at 15 seconds, you know there's going to be a loadout to drop. So be ready to A, fight, which I can add another tip on top of that is if there's more than 1 loadout box with you, that means there's someone else there with you. So every once in a while, you'll see 2, 3, 4 loadout boxes drop next to each other. Each one of those means there's another team near you. So you know it's time to go if you see more than 1 box. But so the first one drops at 15 seconds in the first circle. And then the second one, alrighty guys, so loadout number 2 is going to drop at circle 5. With 45 seconds left, and that's going to be 45 seconds before the zone starts moving. So you can tell here the lettering's still white. When the zone's moving, it turns red. So remember, white 45 with round 5, another loadout's going to drop. This is a very important box here, because if someone on your team doesn't have their loadout, you don't have your loadout, at some point someone got killed, this could be a very detrimental spot in the game, and you want to know when that's going to drop exactly, because right now there is no chance we're getting to this one. You can see how many people are around us here. We're on a bad part of the zone. Luckily, we're having a good game here, so we don't have to worry about going to get this box. But if you can position yourself in a little bit more open area, a lot of times that'll drop pretty close to you in that last circle, because there's not a lot of room in the 5th circle. So it's going to drop pretty close to you. But definitely an important thing to know. Let's go on to number 3. Tip number 3 I have for you guys out there is renaming your classes. I know so many people, including myself, that didn't do it for such a long time, and it was very detrimental at some points in the game, because sometimes you need a certain weapon in a certain situation. Like you're in an open field, like if you have a sniper right now, it's a great time to do it. So rename your classes so you know exactly what gun you're grabbing, but don't forget to not rename them when you change the class, because I've done that a couple times and it can be detrimental to you. So I'm going to piggyback another tip onto this one and go with the fully loaded, because I know a lot of people don't know what fully loaded is. So I have it named fully loaded, and fully loaded actually is just in a perk that you add onto your gun, and it gives you max ammo for this class. So I will have 210 reserve bullets when I pick this up, and a full 60 round mag, because that's what I have on my gun. And it is absolutely essential to have at least 1 fully loaded class on here. It's not really made for killing people. It's more made for helping yourself, because when you're grabbing your fully loaded, it's because you're out of ammo, or you're in an end game zone where you got to that last box that we were just talking about in the last tip. And you got to help your team out. If you pick up a gun that has 60 bullets in it, what are you good for? You're going to be able to shoot across the map for like 2 seconds, and then you're going to be out of ammo. I mean, you get the fully loaded. You lose an attachment, which makes the gun not as good as it is before, but I'm telling you, the fully loaded is needed to be grabbed at these times because you just have to have that max ammo. And a lot of people don't know about this. Definitely check it out, guys. It is totally worth it, I promise. Put this on your class just so when you need ammo. Oh, and you don't need to be having a bad game to grab your fully loaded class either. A lot of times you just run out of ammo, so it is something that you really need to have because there's just certain times where you're killing people and they don't have ammo for you. So that's number 3. Let's go on to number 2. Alrighty, guys. So coming in at number 2 is going to be knowing what overkill is and ghost is. So obviously, if you're having a good start to your game, you might already have a loadout. You were able to do a scavenger. You were able to kill a few people. You got $10,000 between you or your team. You bought a loadout, you got your gun. So you have your first loadout here, and you have your standard class here. You got a growl with overkill on it. You have 2 guns now. Great. But everyone can see you on the map. And at the last 15 seconds of that first circle, you know a loadout's coming. So what you want to do when you rotate to that next circle is grab that ghost class. You want your ghost class. That ghost class is so essential because you're not showing up on a radar then. There is absolutely nothing scarier in Warzone is fighting someone that you know has an SMG and an AR and has ghosts because you don't know they're coming. And you don't know if someone's in your building. You're just absolutely deadly when you have the ghost. Some people prefer to grab it their first loadout, and I really think you're losing a lot when you don't run that secondary. You were able to get away with it for a while with the RPGs and when they were really strong, but you have to have an SMG and an AR now. You just can't get away with it. So that is tip number 2. Make sure you're switching from overkill to ghost at some point in the game. A lot of people like to not have ghost on to try to get higher kill games, but that's a way more advanced trick. Ghost is an essential part of your gameplay for 99% of the world. So get ghost. And coming in at number 1 today, guys, drum roll. So number 1 today, guys, it's going to seem very simple for a lot of you guys because I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've done it yourself, or maybe you haven't. Maybe this is the first video you've ever watched on YouTube, and there's a lot of people like that, surprisingly. You'd think by now a lot of people would get that, but they just don't. Number 1 is going to be make loadouts that work in Warzone. I know a lot of people play Call of Duty their whole lives and go put their own attachments on and have a good time with it that way. But if you want to be competitive and get better at Warzone, you need to have good attachments on your guns. And I have tons of videos on my channel of the builds I use. There's tons of videos out there. Nick Merck, Swag, almost everyone that makes good videos out there, they are doing this. They're making loadouts for you, testing them out, doing all the testing. You don't have to do the testing. We're doing the testing for you. And it was brought to my attention by a friend because I was playing with him for the first time in a while, and his gun was awful. It was literally the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It was a growl with a short barrel on it, and it was just terrible. Please, please, please go look up some guns before you jump into games because you know when you beat some really bad teams in this game, you're like, what are you using? That gun is so bad. And I know a lot of you guys out there are doing the same stuff. So start looking up the videos. When you use a new gun, like, hey, I want to make a growl class, go look up growl for Warzone on YouTube. Come to my channel, look through my old videos. I have 8 growl videos for you. So it is essential that you're running the right loadouts in this game. Not having the right loadouts is really going to hurt you. You're running short range weapons when they're supposed to be long range, and it's just not good. It's not going to help you get any more wins, and it is detrimental. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for me today. That is the top 5 things I think that every noob needs to know to get better at this game. And it's nothing to like hate on noobs or anything like that. There might have been something in this video that was helpful for you, but there's a lot of things out there that people just blatantly don't do. And it's like they don't know that Twitch exists. They don't know that YouTube exists. Obviously, if you got to here, you know YouTube exists. And I'm really glad that you made it this far into the video. But there's just so much to learn in this game. And you can skip so many steps just by looking up videos, guys. That is going to be another tip I have for you. Look up things to get better at the game. There's aiming videos. There's rotational videos. There's so many things out there. I have a few on my channel as well. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Just know what you're doing. I hope this video helped at least one person get a little bit better, taught you a little bit something. But other than that, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. If you did like the video, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.